Welcome to the May Progress Update Part 2 here on the Fall River Division. Made a couple updates here based on feedback, so audio should be much improved using a different software this time. And also we have shifted the lighting to midday versus mid-morning in the haze, which is, I guess, difficult to see the details. And so I appreciate your comments. As I said, always read the comments, always looking to be better and create better content for the community and stuff you guys enjoy. So we finished the part 1 update right around here, right around East Sage. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. That covers the area on the east end of the route from Calhoun into Fall River, and today we'll be progressing west from Fall River to the terminus of the route in Richland. If you want more background on the route, where it came from, how it got started, check out some of the other videos on the channel that are a couple years old when I first started the route back in Trainz and New Era. A lot of background on the route, links to the actual model railroad, which is John Parker's HO scale BNSF Fall River Division, and rocking and rolling from here. So as we move west, this is the area of Sage. It is still industrial, loaded with distribution centers being so close to the city. Also some heavy industry. So we've got a large grain elevator, which is a staple industry on the route, as well as in the Sage area, and as well as a small station, which has been completely kick-bashed. So still little work to do in this area. As you can see, don't have a ton of grass down or vehicles, but the bones are there, and that's always the hardest part there. So we're here at CP West Sage. I've really started to add access points to control point technology versus just sticking stuff. So, you know, the communication and signals department team members need access to signals, to control point boxes, etc. So if you got something that's really hard to get to as you're modeling, make sure that there's actually visible access to it, whether that's via a dirt road or something, because if something goes wrong, they need a way to get to it. Here at West Sage is right before we cross the river. Here we have a PSC coal train heading across. I've got a couple of small industries here, including a Cargill corn syrup receiver. This area around the river needs to be expanded, kind of going north and south, where right now there's model railroad backdrop, so more to come there. Recent addition here, Wits End. This has been a blank canvas for some time. We've got Apache Plastics, which I've started to build out a little bit, put the buildings down, which is the hardest thing, running piping. It's just a generic plastics receiver. Going to put some industrial buildings here as well. We've got a small bulk transfer right there, but have a pretty good idea what we're going to do there. As we come in here to Winston, this is Clearwater Paper. It's the biggest industry in Winston. It's one of the biggest industries on the route. For anyone who's modeled paper mill before, you know we're receiving a ton of different commodities and then shipping paper. And recently finished this Cargill feed receiver here on the left-hand side. Really like how this came together, and some of the use of asphalt splines versus textures, I think, actually worked in well with how close it is to the right-of-way. We have a river down here through the valley, paralleling both the main road as well as the tracks the entire way down the valley. We have a small Amtrak station with a little ode to the Great Northern. I'm representing this as part of the BNSF, Northern Transcon, former Great Northern. John wasn't that specific in his documentation, but I wanted to do that, and Winston felt like a good place to do so. Here at West Winston, we move out of the double track section into single track. This is one of the more congested areas of the railroad because it is single track for a decent amount of time. We got a lumber mill here, and then we're going to cross another river and head through a cut and end up really attacking the mountain grade here towards Summit, which is in the overlook area. This is an example where I talked about access to communication and signals equipment. So this is a pretty remote area of the mountains. I want to make sure that there was visible access to it through this little dirt patch. We've got a hot box detector here, defect detector, and an intermediate signal here controlling the blocks on either side as we head towards Snowshed 1 and Snowshed 2. Still have a little work to do here. This is a combination of the wooden snowshed plus I've put just a concrete wall up to represent some of the vibes on Marias Pass related to the snow sheds, which are a combination of multiple materials. This mountain area, it's probably one of the last things I come back through and revamp, or when I get bored with another area. Just really want to take a second pass at it. The textures I don't love, especially that like yellowy thing there in the hills to the right, as we head in here to East Overlook and our long passing siding. But this is going to need a revamp, and looking forward to doing that. Here we are at the intermediate signals that control the middle of the siding. I was looking for non-safe Trainz signals, which were the 05 type, which allows for restricting and trains to follow each other, even if the block's not clear. I use those. This is the southern ones. They're pretty dated, but I can't change the visible number on them, which is really bothering me, so I'll be swapping those out here. We're here at West Overlook, which is where the long passing siding ends, and we head towards Crater Loop and start to exit the rugged mountain railroading. Crater Loop, pretty iconic part of the model railroad, one to really represent this, just as it exists in John's basement. So we got a pretty significant downgrade as the tracks move over each other, and then we head into the town of Kimber. A lot of industry here. We have access to what's called the Crater Creek branch, which I've not modeled yet. It's a whole nother set of industries. I may just make it a portal to nowhere, just to keep the scope of the route down. But there's a small yard here. Road trains working between Richland and Fall River do pick up and set out here for industries. And it's also where the UP trackage rights begin if you're headed from west to east, or end if you're headed from east to west, and that's that track heading off there to the right hand side. I've added some signs here to indicate the subdivision you're entering, the subdivision you're exiting, as well as the radio frequency the crews need to change to, which is based off UP in the Pacific Northwest that I found online. Here's the small yard at Kimber, and most of the switching is done on the right hand side, and then the pickups are done and set-offs are done on the left hand side of the track. Here we have a UP intermodal train, actually still crossing the Diamonds out of frame, but headed towards the BNSF here, and about to enter trackage rights. It'll exit trackage rights back at Fall River at CP Union, right by the big Amtrak station there in town, but for now it's headed towards the mountains. Kimber, another town, have the bones down. Need to come back through with some detail. You can see there's some older textures that are starting to pop or become obsolete, so I'll need to go back through and replace them. It's one of the pitfalls of working on a route for so long. There's a small Amtrak station here, and a diamond here with the UP at West Kimber. This is something that doesn't exist in John's route. He has the UP just disappear behind a backdrop, but I wanted to add a little bit of operational complexity, and it allows for a train length, so UP trains can sit between East Kimber and West Kimber. There's enough length to do so without interfering with BNSF operations on either side. So now it's majority of the traffic here will be BNSF. There's still some trackage rights coal trains that will operate here, but we're near Yoder, big concrete facility here that's producing concrete and receives stone, actually from the Auburn area, and then ships concrete to points west and east. This is a double track, really high speed plane section of the route. I had made it 3 tracks at one point, and it just ended up being a place for trains to sit, and so I went back to the original track plane of 2 tracks on the main. Here's where we take another look at the CMAX facility here in Yoder. The one thing I did add, because there's a defect detector just west of here, this is a little set-off track, which is represented prototype. I saw this on a bunch of Powder River Basin videos, so trains hitting the detector will actually come in here, and then they'll set off any cars that flag the detector right there. Ardmore is high-speed crossover. These are huge number 20 turnouts, and just allow for trains to get lined up and a place to move trains in and around between Kimber and the Black Diamond Mine. We continue west here with some intermediate signals and a detector. So there's 2 detectors here on the Kimber Sub. The one is there in the mountain grade, and the other is here just outside the Black Diamond Mine. And I keep saying mine, it's mine. That's the word show right there. Here, Black Diamond Mine, we go back to single track. Most coal trains will exit the main line here and come to load at Black Diamond Mine. Did a bunch of research here. Just there's a ton of content about the Powder River Basin. Used a couple of the large loadouts as a basis for how to model this, as well as John's progressed the scenery quite a bit in this area in the last couple of years. So try to stay true to some of his buildings. I do have a little more space, so there's that that I have to fill, but the idea is to actually load trains here. So it is a loader. It's an active industry. Trains will load at 5 miles an hour and then head east. As you can see, there's a UP train that just finished loading. It'll be on trackage rights as it heads back towards Fall River. And we've got here BNSF trains just waiting to load. I've got a couple of invisible signals here just so the trains don't get too close to each other, and it works pretty well. Now we're over here in the area of Auburn. It's really a spur branch line. A lot of industry here. BNSF is in here working the stone loading, and a short line handles all the rest of the switching. That's just how I'm modeling it for a little more of a dynamic effect. So this area's been actually done for some time. I spent a couple days on it about a year and a half ago and really like how it came out, including some of the power line detail, transformers for all the industries, and then making sure that I could automate the switching around the industry. So that's a good overhead view of just how much is going on here. And the idea is all this traffic that's switched by the short line comes back into the yard of Richland for points west and points east. So like I said, a ton that comes out of there, and you could probably operate that for hours and make it its own. As we continue west, we go in the last town on the route, which is Richland. This is a crew change point as John models it for the BNSF. There's a small yard here, town, Amtrak station, etc. Here as we get down low and see a international stack train at the Pacific Northwest heading out of town. This is also a helper base, so not all trains require helpers, and I'm making my own rules up for this. So how I'm thinking about, at least for eastbound moves, is helpers are going to be added on manifest trains only. So most of the trains are laden down with lumber, other products from the Pacific Northwest. They're heavier than maybe their westbound counterparts. So this train actually that's in the yard just waiting for the morning activity to clear will have helpers as it heads east over the mountain. You can see there's still a lot of grid here, a lot of work to do. But just a couple of tracks. Didn't want to just lay track to lay track. You can see the two assigned helpers here on the backside that have already coupled and ready to go. This is where we diverge from the original track plan that John had. Place I'm calling CP Lake. Just really trying to create a barrier between Richland and the rest of the world. And I really like the idea of Sandpoint, Idaho, where the BNSF crosses the area. So that finishes up for today, actually. If you enjoyed the content, please like and add a comment. I always answer and look at all of them. And until next time, happy trainsing. All right, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that part 2 update that I was promising. Apologize about my voice. I actually recently encountered COVID for the first time, so feeling okay, but well, my voice is a little scraggly. And the Arizona missions didn't really have anything for this time, so sit back and enjoy here a little teaser on the Hobart module. It's a BNSF Kimber Sub. Area there in Los Angeles. I've been working on for some time, trying to clean up and get it ready for a release at some point here in 2024. Sit back and enjoy some of the action here in Commerce and Eastern Avenue, and we'll see you again next time. as we come to the end of the video, appreciate everyone's time here this weekend. If you like what you saw, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you didn't like it, let us know how we can be better next time. See you guys soon.